My name is Bill Keogh. I'm the Managing Director of the Supply Chain, Transportation, and Logistics Master's Program here at the University of Washington. And I want to welcome you to our webinar on leveraging veterans benefits for graduate study. The supply chain, transportation, and logistics field is currently one that's growing very quickly, and employers are in search of people with the kind of skills they need to be successful. Many people in the military have very in-depth skills in logistics, and one of the things the program attempts to do is to help those folks understand how to translate their military experience into experience working in the private sector. So we're going to have an opportunity for questions via Facebook chat. So if you have something, just go ahead and put it in there and we will address the questions at the end of the broadcast. I'd like to take a minute now to introduce Dr. Sam Powers. Sam is the Director of Student Veteran Life here at the University of Washington. And take it away, Sam.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate the introduction. Hello, I'm Sam. I'm the Director of Student Veteran Life here at the University of Washington. I've got some slides for you because I think that's the easiest way to communicate some of this information, and I'm going to try to not PowerPoint you to death. All right, and that should be showing for you right now. So welcome, and thanks for taking the time to investigate what the UW is all about. With Student Veteran Life at the University of Washington, we have been open since January of 2016. And this is our main staff. So hello again, I'm Sam. We also have our Assistant Director, Lindsay Church. We have our Veteran Support Psychologist, Dr. Laura Boy, who is specifically here for student veterans. And we have our office manager, Ying Yi, who is a Navy veteran majoring in public health right now. We have about 9 student veteran peer mentors who work in the office as well, which is also an opportunity open to you when you come here to the University of Washington. And then there's everyone's favorite staff member, and this is Charlie. Charlie is the Assistant Director's service dog in training. She is a golden and she's fantastic, and you are welcome to come by anytime and pet her. So a little bit about who we are and what we do. As I said, we opened in January 2016, so we're still pretty new, but the mission of the office is to help you successfully transition to UW, thrive in your studies, and walk across that graduation stage so that you can launch into a successful post-college career. The office was founded by student veterans and for student veterans. And our office is responsible for anything having to do with student veterans outside of financial aid and GI Bill benefits. And you'll hear next from the folks who do deal with financial aid and GI Bill benefits. So this is what it might feel like when you get here to the University of Washington. And this is, no joke, a meme that I just pulled off of the internet. So that means that it's common enough that there's a meme out there because you're a little bit older than the standard student attending the University of Washington. And so here are the reasons why. The student body is actually over 46,000 students. Student veterans at the University of Washington comprise just over 1,000, so it's about 5% of the population there, if you include dependents in that number. Total undergrads are over 31,000, and of those, student veterans are about 405. The average age of the general student body is 21, and the average age of University of Washington student veterans is 29. So again, if it feels a little bit like Billy Madison, that's normal, and there are ways to overcome that, and that is where we come in. So our office exists to, again, provide services and programs to help you walk across that graduation stage and be successful in your career. So when you come in, you'll find, again, Charlie, the service dog, who's very friendly, and you are allowed to pet her when she's inside the office. We also have free coffee, free printing, free testing materials such as Scantrons and Blue Books, which are commonly used testing materials here at the University of Washington. We've also got computers and laptops for folks to check out. We have counseling services through our veteran support psychologist, Dr. Laura Boy. We have major major events like Memorial Day events, Veterans Day events, recognizable things to you, but also things that will appear in times such as dog days during the fall and winter. We have outdoor recreation events, which includes anything from dog sledding to snowboarding to hiking to kayaking in the San Juans to whitewater rafting. So that's part of our whole veteran initiative, and I'll speak about that in a minute. We also have TV, complete with Hulu, Netflix, HBO Now, pretty much anything you could need to watch, and lots of video games, both Madden kind and first-person shooter kind, whatever your poison is there. So our 4 pillars of student veteran life are the ones you can see here: the whole veteran initiative, engaging community, advocacy, and beyond the U. So whole veteran initiative, what that is essentially is we assume that you're being intellectually challenged in the classroom, which hopefully if you're at a university, that's in fact happening. We seek to fill in the gaps outside of that. So we have things like yoga, we have mindfulness, we have meditation classes. Those are all the sort of mindfulness pieces. Again, we have the outdoor rec piece with all the snowboarding and hiking and the fun outdoors stuff. And then we have, again, Dr. Laura Boy, who's here for any counseling needs that you may have while you're going through. And she's our veteran support psychologist. The engaging community piece. So we spent our first 2 years building community, which was really important to actually just get people to walk through our doors. So now we engage the community, and we do that through recognizable events, like I said. We also do lots of really fun things, like during Veterans Appreciation, we have free football tickets for student veterans, and they end up going to the game. They also end up being on the field during the pregame show, doing tug of war during halftime, and all kinds of fun stuff. So those are the things that we like to talk about because they're big attractors for student vets. But also we have mentorship possibilities with alumni and other student veterans who have been here for a while, who are in similar academic majors, and we can pair you with mentors if you so choose. We also have a pillar called advocacy, and so part of this is teaching staff and faculty about student veterans. It is a pretty progressive, pretty liberal school, the University of Washington, and it does have a history of being pretty anti-war. So my job and my staff's job is to educate people on the difference between supporting a war and supporting troops. And so there is a big difference. You can be unsupportive of a war, but also make sure that troops come home and have good academic experiences. So we do that. We also have a We Are Veterans campaign. It's hashtag We Are Veterans, where we take photos of student veterans, and it serves a dual purpose of being a LinkedIn free picture for you, but also showing the community that student veterans look like everyone. So you can't identify a student veteran just by looking across the campus for a particular person. We also have recently we started what's called intersectional identities. And so this program seeks to engage the community to talk about the multiple identities that they may have. For instance, we just did one on student veterans who are parents. So that's a way for folks who are coming in, student veterans who are coming in who are also parents, to connect with other parents so that everybody understands the resources that are available to them. And then also to create a community, a network of people who can help each other find resources or create resources if they don't exist on campus. And then the last pillar is beyond the U. And really, this comes out of, in our first couple of years, we just quickly realized that we needed to focus on career placement as well as everything else we were focusing on. I was trying very hard to keep it within the time of admission to the time of graduation, but it became really quickly apparent when people showed up after graduation saying, oh, okay, now I need a job, that we needed to expand that piece of our services and programs as well. So that's what Beyond the U is helping people find jobs. So some advice from alumni and returning student veterans are to get involved, start thinking about what your next steps are as soon as you get into the university. Don't start thinking about internships the quarter that you're supposed to start an internship. It needs to start happening long before then. Try a class outside your comfort zone. You never know what you might fall into and love here at the university. Don't waste your GI Bill, so you can have some opportunities for taking classes that you may be interested in, but at the same time, you want to be careful to not use your GI Bill on things that aren't going to count towards your degree if you're running low on GI Bill benefits. Have good etiquette in all of your communications, have a game plan when you come here, and university life after the military can be incredibly alienating. We understand that walking out that gate and losing all of your trust buddies and losing the military culture behind you after you walk out is really hard. So never underestimate the power of commonality with a fellow veteran, and that's why we ask you to come through our doors to meet people. And don't isolate yourselves. Spend your time building relationships, and maybe that's not with other student veterans. We have lots of registered student organizations on campus that you can find and meet people in as well. So I won't bore you too much with these, and a lot of them may not mean much to you yet, but just so you know, we have great relationships across campus with our partners: academic advising, career advising, counseling, physical fitness. At Hall Health, you can get one free checkup per quarter, which is pretty cool. We have a great relationship with Disability Resource Services, the Q Center, which is the LGBTQ community, and the Veterans Education Benefits Office, who you'll hear from next. Make sure when you're here to get involved. There's lots of leadership opportunities. You can join Husky Veterans, which is the registered service organization for the entire university, or another student organization, or you can start your own if it doesn't exist. There's opportunities to become a student senator. You can join the Husky Leadership Initiative. You can find a work study position, some of which are available in the Office of Student Veteran Life. Make sure you're leading in the classroom, because we already know that's what you're good at. So if there are opportunities for project work with other individuals in your class, take those leadership opportunities when you can. Volunteer in the community and practice leadership in every interaction that you have. And just lastly, these are the uniforms that the football team wore during Veterans Appreciation 2 years ago. And they actually had some of the student veteran names on their jerseys, and then we gave those to student veterans after the game. So you can stay up to date on everything we're doing by, once you're here, checking your emails from Student Veteran Life on the 1st and 15th of every month. And they do have a tendency to go to the promotional inbox, so you'll have to change that manually. And that's all I have. Let me go ahead and stop sharing here. And then I have the pleasure of passing this off to Samantha Whyte, who is the financial aid advisor and GI Bill benefits person in the Veterans Education Benefits Office. And we affectionately call her the guru of everything GI Bill related in our office. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to her.
Thank you so much, Sam. So as you may have discovered, we have two offices here on campus supporting our veterans. So we have Office of Student Veteran Life, and then we have Veterans Education Benefits Office. And in order to not making it too confusing, we also have two Samanthas helping in both offices. So my name is Samantha Whyte, and I'm a lead counselor here in the Veterans Education Benefits Office and also in the Student Financial Aid Office. So our office can help you with your VA benefits, but also with financial aid benefits. And if we'll get the slides going here. So our office, we will help you with anything financial aid and VA related, and that also includes some state waivers for some students. Most of our students that we see are using post 9/11 benefits, and that's about 80% of our students that we see are using post 9/11 benefits, but we do help any student coming in our office with figuring out what financial aid options they have in terms of using benefits or financial aid or waivers or everything together. And just to a quick recap, most of you who are tuning into this may already know, but post 9/11 benefits, Chapter 33 benefits, is 36 months of entitlement. It does cover resident tuition per your entitlement percentage. So depending on how long you've served active duty, qualifying active duty time for your VA benefits, you may have an entitlement from 40% to 100%. We mostly see 100% students here. And that means that it will pay up to that percentage, 100% resident tuition and fees. For this specific program, there is no difference between resident and non-resident fees. So your tuition will be covered on a quarterly basis. It also pays a book stipend, so you receive up to $1,000 per fiscal year, and it's based on your credits that you are enrolled. So it's close to $42 per credit that you're enrolled. So looking at the schedule, you will receive about $208 per quarter if you are enrolled at 5 credits. It does pay a housing stipend, but only if you're enrolled more than half time. So for grad students, full-time is considered 10 credits. So you need to be enrolled at 6 credits or more in order to receive a housing stipend. And at that point, they will also be prorated to 60% of their full-time rate. And I know there's many questions regarding how at what number of credits you're eligible to receive your benefits. You're eligible to receive your tuition payment and your book stipend from starting at 1 credit, but the housing stipend you will not receive unless you're at 6 credits or more. Other types of benefits that we see here on campus is the work rehab. And it really requires some disability rating, and it's based on your circumstances that you talk with the VA in order to qualify for it. But we do process this, and we have a fair number of students using this. So it pays, again, full tuition and fees, pays a monthly stipend depending on your enrollment status, and then also it pays required books, supplies, and other resources that you may have approved by your work rehab counselor. And we also obviously take Montgomery GI Bill, which will pay you a monthly stipend directly to you. So you would be responsible for your tuition and fees, but it would pay a housing stipend. And looking at 5 credits per quarter, you will receive about $964 per month. One important thing to remember is that you always need to verify your attendance on a monthly basis. So how do you do this? How do you use your benefits? You start by applying with the VA to use your benefits, and they've simplified the application process by slightly getting rid of e-benefits instead of using vets.gov. So I would recommend everyone to use vets.gov, complete the application. It's fairly simple, would take about 10 to 15 minutes if you haven't done that already. If you have applied already, that's perfect. No need to do this. And then we have some internal processing forms in order to use your benefits on a quarterly basis, which is pretty straightforward, and it's just listing your class schedule for the quarter, having an academic advisor sign off, since unfortunately am not an academic advisor. All our forms and all our information can be found on our website, which is veteran.uw.edu, and then /forms for any of your forms that you may need. And we are in the slow process of making everything available through online forms as well. So hopefully we'll see that fairly soon here. Things to know. So tuition and fees will always be paid after the tuition deadline. You're not going to get any late fees or any registration holds. So don't worry about the tuition deadline approaching and your tuition fees are not paid. Your entitlement use is prorated for your post-9/11 benefits, meaning that yes, you will. If you're enrolled at 50%, you only use 50% of your benefits. So if a normal quarter is about 10 weeks, you're enrolled at 5 credits, you only use 50% of your benefits. They pay full tuition and fees for 5 credits, but you only used 5 weeks instead of the full 10 weeks for the quarter. If you need any short-term assistance, we do have short-term loan programs and other aid programs available here on campus. And then lastly, that's the number that you need to know in order to contact the VA directly. We'll always be able to help you troubleshoot your benefits and see that everything looks good, but you do want to contact the VA directly for questions regarding rates paid or such to see what's going on. And in our office, we have myself and my coworker Tina. We're the 2 certifying officials here, and then we're open Monday through Friday, 10 till 4 on a drop-in basis. So just come on by to our office and let us know if you have any questions. Everything is pretty straightforward when it comes to benefits here at UW. I see that we have some questions. I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to try to answer them right now while I have everyone here. If you go on leave or you get deployed, if you're not enrolled, you're not using your benefits. So you wouldn't use your benefits if you stop being enrolled. If you do go on leave, or if you do get deployed and you have to drop out of school, you would obviously report this to the VA, and they typically respect that you have mitigating circumstances, so you don't have to pay anything back for that. The benefits cover books up to $1,000 per year. It doesn't matter how much you're paying for your books because it's based on your credits. So it's about $42 per credit for post-9/11 benefits. You can transfer your post-9/11 benefits to dependents while you are still active duty. So you want to initiate that transfer as soon as you can. You want to initiate and transfer at least 1 day to potential dependents for future use. And then once you are no longer active duty, you can switch between them and transfer more entitlement, but you can't add new dependents. So you do want to do that while you're still active duty. And it all goes through DOD, so you have to make sure that you've served at least 4 years and signing up for 6 additional, or have already served 10 years. And there's some additional qualifications for DOD. And I think that would be everything for my portion here. I'm going to turn it over to Chelsea, who will talk more about the experience here at UW. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea. I just separated from the military this past September, and this is not my PowerPoint. Can someone stop sharing my screen, because I don't see that anymore as an option either. There we go. All right, sorry about that. So I went to undergrad at Claremont McKenna College, where I got a degree in international relations, which is completely unrelated to business or logistics at all, which played a major role in why I wanted to get a master's degree to become an expert and a specialist in the field of logistics. I did the ROTC program to pay for school, where I did 4 years in the Army after that as an 88 Alpha transportation officer, where I served in Korea and JBLM. So some challenges that I had thought about upon my separation was that it was an incredibly competitive hiring environment, and I was competing with people who already had degrees in logistics or master's degrees, and I wanted to be able to compete on their level as a veteran and stand out. And additionally, to learn some new hard skills, as Bill was saying, to help translate everything I had learned in the military into civilian terms. My time in the service, I really didn't realize until recently with hindsight that I had gained some amazing soft skills in being able to work with people across vastly different backgrounds than my own, and working through incredibly unique situations that people haven't had to try and figure out before. And so that critical thinking and working amongst people, don't doubt for a second that those skills are not important, because they are. But I want to combine those skills with some analytical hard skills to help me be more competitive in this hiring environment and to earn a position in logistics for a major civilian company. Additionally, I wanted to use this opportunity to network with like-minded professionals. And it's been an amazing opportunity. I now have friends in Boeing, Starbucks, PACCAR, Amazon, and DHL, all within Seattle. I still stay in contact with them frequently. So my experience with the program has been that I am much more well-rounded in the sense that, yes, I gained transportation experience in the military, and I know how to move goods, but how do you optimize the entire supply chain from A to B? And this program has given me an amazing capability to see beyond just one slice of logistics. It's been able to do that through some really great simulations. If you join the program, you'll do the orange juice simulation, and that was a challenge. I learned a lot about how hard it is to communicate needs across an entire supply chain. Additionally, I've been able to deep dive into Excel and learn regression analysis and all these types of analytics as a tool, and simulation programs to visualize and test out optimization projects. As far as networking goes, I now work for PACCAR, and my mentor also worked for PACCAR. So he was a great resource to help learn about what he does within PACCAR and how I could get my foot in the door. And it really immediately paid off for me in the sense that the day terminal leave ended, I also started at PACCAR, so there were no gaps. So it's definitely a worthwhile investment. And let's see, stop share. At this time, that's all I have. Please let me know if any of you guys have any questions that myself or the other panelists can answer for you.
And so, Dr. Powers, I think, do you have the answer to a newsletter question?
Yes, so somebody asked the question, how do I sign up for the newsletters? So if you are currently a student, it's actually an opt-out program, so you'll receive them automatically on the 1st and the 15th of every month once you're here. If you'd like them prior to that, all you have to do is email us. It's vetlife@uw.edu, so VETLIFE@uw.edu, and we'll put you on the external newsletters list until you get here.
Excellent, thanks. So if you have any more questions, feel free to post them. And we're getting a few more in. So can you review what's included in the benefits and the books fees?
Yes, of course. So it depends on what benefits you're talking about. If you're talking about post 9/11 benefits, you will have tuition and fees paid for up to your percentage, and then you will have a book stipend, which will be roughly $42 per credit that you're enrolled on a quarterly basis, up to $1,000 a year, and it doesn't matter if you have books to buy or not. It's an automatic thing. And then housing stipend would start at being enrolled at 6 credits, and I believe that this program you're typically enrolled 5 credits per quarter. If you're looking at work rehab benefits, same thing, tuition fees will be covered. Your required books and any supplies that are approved by your counselor will be paid for. And the housing stipend will be prorated to match 5 credit enrollment. And if you're using Montgomery GI Bill, you will receive a monthly stipend of roughly $900 per month for a half-time enrollment. So it kind of depends on what benefits we're looking at, but that's the general idea. In order to continue receiving your benefits, we don't look at a certain GPA. You obviously have to follow the UW's satisfactory academic progress in order to maintain enrollment and such. But in terms of your VA benefits, as long as you are making progress towards your degree, you will be eligible for your benefits. And your benefits will only cover required classes for your degree program. So if you do need a prereq in order to be enrolled in a required class, yes, it will be covered. You will be able to take any prereqs in order to be admitted to the classes that are required for your degree program. However, any classes that are used on top, electives that are good to have but not required for your degree program, they're not covered.
Thank you. And we have another question.
All benefits.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I think that's all the VA benefits questions I can see here.
Great. And we have another question. How can the program impact my military career? Great question.
So
I can.
okay, go ahead,
No,
Bill.
no. Go ahead, Chelsea, and I'll say afterwards.
I was going to say, if you want to stay in the military, if depending on, I know for the officer side, if you're going to climb the ranks, you need to have a master's degree. And so you can get a jump start off of all these other people and be much more competitive to them to be above grade and maybe promote even faster because you already have your master's degree. And it's in the same field that potentially your MOS is in.
Yeah, and I would echo that. I think a lot of times there's an opportunity for people in the military to take best practices from the commercial world and bring those into the military, and sometimes that can lead in some really great efficiencies.
Great. And can I take courses while being deployed?
I can answer that as well. The course is there's one of the things about the program that's sort of distinctive for online programs is that we have a live 2-hour class once a week, and you are required to participate in that over the internet. So if you're in another country or in another part of the world, that can be sort of difficult. We have one student who's in Northern Ireland now. He's from the United States, so he's getting up kind of early to participate in his class. We had one person in Afghanistan one time, which was extremely difficult for that person. But, you know, if you want to do it and you can make the live classes, you can certainly do it while you're deployed.
So can you tag on to that a little bit, Bill? Someone's asking the question, is the program military friendly?
What do you mean by military friendly? Well, I guess I'm not going to hear that quickly in the chat. I'll make an assumption. You know, we have quite a few students who are either active duty or who have been in the military in the past. And, you know, I think the professors in the program are pretty welcoming. I think a lot of the folks in the military have very in-depth and specialized experience that a lot of the other students really appreciate. So I think there's an exchange of information. Some of the military folks take away best practices from the commercial field, and very often that happens the other way as well.
Great, and we have a lot of benefits questions coming in. So would benefits eligible vets or dependents of vets never use Pell or state need grants since the amounts are lower?
Excellent question. For undergraduate students, yes, students would use federal aid, including Pell or state need grant if they're eligible for it. Since this is a graduate degree program, you would not be eligible for any Pell or state need grants since that's for undergrad studies. But you can use your VA benefits with your federal aid. So for grad students, you're mostly looking at student loans, and you can use those in conjunction with your VA benefits. Those two do not impact each other. And for benefits that last at least 36 months, would students be eligible to receive standard federal aid? Yes, like I said, you can use your VA benefits in conjunction with your federal aid. They do not affect each other. You can also apply for any outside scholarships from private organizations. The one thing to keep in mind is that if it's tuition specific and you're using post-9/11 benefits, it will affect the amount that the VA pays since you can have more than 100% of your tuition covered. But you can apply for any types of scholarships that you wish to apply for, and you can use your federal loans for this program. And I'm going to tackle some other benefits questions that I see. Would GI Bill cover all or most of the out-of-state tuition and fees? Your post-9/11 benefits only cover resident tuition and fees, but for the supply chain program, I believe it's a fee-based program, so you're paying the same amount even if you're non-resident or resident. So the cost for this program is covered under your GI Bill. And that's let's see, are electives covered by the benefits or use credits needed for the degree program? So if you have to take a certain number of electives in order to complete your degree program, yes, those electives will be covered. But if your program has a set schedule, and the classes up to the 43, 45 credits are already scheduled, and there are only core requirements, then only those classes will be covered. So it depends on your degree program of how it's set up.
Yeah, and in the instance for this specific program, it's a cohort-based model. So one group of students moves through the entire program together, and there are no electives. The courses are specifically spelled out.
And Bill, per cohort, how many military students do you typically have?
I would say it's about maybe 15%, sometimes 20%. Generally, the cohort is 30 to 35 people. So, you know, that should give you some idea.
So somebody asked, are the in-person resources available for online students? So I could say that the majority of the partnerships that we have on campus, so disability resource services, counseling services, advising services, are definitely available for online students. We do provide some services that obviously we can't do kayaking online. That would be probably pretty difficult. But if we can provide it online, we work with people as much as possible. We actually have a celebration of excellence in June every year, which is our version of graduation. And so we provide stoles and military challenge coin for everyone who's graduating. However, we know that not everyone can make it to that graduation. So we have an option for people to ask for those to be sent to them or to get them in other ways. Some people have family here and they can stop by and grab them from our office. We like to do and give them the military challenge coin if we can, but if we can't, then we can make accommodations.
Thank you. And a question, is SCTL the #1 program for military students at UW?
Well, I can't speak to all the programs at UW in general, you know, because some of them are extremely large and I'm sure they have more military students than we do. In terms of supply chain and logistics graduate program, though, yeah, I would say that's probably true. I think we have more military personnel enrolled than, you know, any other program in that space.
Great. So any final thoughts while we're waiting for a few more questions to come in? Or any helpful hints you can pass along? Covered a lot of great things.
Yeah, I mean, I can just share from my own experience, and I'm sure Chelsea can echo this. You know, we require a certain amount of experience for people who apply to the program. So we don't have people fresh out of undergrad with no real world experience. And I remember speaking to one person who'd been a logistics officer in some capacity for like 7 or 8 years. And, you know, she said, I have a lot of experience and I was on an interview with Starbucks and I knew I know how to do the stuff he needs. But in terms of terminology, we were just talking past one another. And, you know, I didn't get invited back for another interview. And I think one of the things this program can do for military folks is help them to understand all the skills they've developed. You know, how can you apply those in a private sector context? And, you know, in the program, you'll build a really wide network of people who are, you know, as Chelsea said, at Microsoft, Starbucks, wherever. And you'll also learn a little bit more about sort of the requirements and how do people in the private sector talk about supply chain and logistics.
Excellent. And when are applications due?
So there was an early deadline in March, but you know, the deadline that remains is May 1.
Great. And for anyone who has questions further on, who's best to contact?
Anyone who'd like to can reach out to me directly. My email is wkeough@uw.edu. We also have a number of other folks that work with the program who you can reach out to. Take a look on the web and you can find their contact information as well.
Excellent. Great. So I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, so I guess we'll call that a wrap. Bill, do you want to close us out?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank everybody very much for their time. I know knowing how to deploy your GI benefits can be a little bit confusing. So hopefully you found this valuable in terms of how to leverage those benefits to advance your career. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.